Capstone presentation, which is dealing with chronic absenteeism and the effects that it have on students and the things that I've done to help with the intervention of chronic absenteeism. The first thing we want to do is we want to identify what chronic absenteeism is. And chronic absenteeism is different than truancy. Truancy is when students are absent 10 or more days, unexcused. And with chronic absenteeism is whether students are absent, whether it's excused or unexcused. So students being absent 10% of their days, which is the school year for students is 180 days. So if they're absent for 18 days, then they're considered chronically absent regardless of whether it's excused or unexcused. The problem with chronic absenteeism is that students in earlier grades, they're losing the foundation and the structure for what is being offered in the school setting, because teachers are very important and they are vital to establishing a foundation for those students and giving those students important benchmarks that they must learn in order to have some success, especially when you look at second grade students and they'll be taking standardized tests when they get to third grade. So my study is trying to get those students in second grade to attend school, so when they get to third grade, they'll have enough days and have enough structure to be successful when they take the standardized test. We'll look at some of the reasons why students are absent. Students being in second grade, that means they're 7, 8, some 9-year-olds. They can't drive. They don't have access to a vehicle as their parents do. So it's the parents' responsibility to get the students to school. And some of the things that I've identified when I communicate and call parents is the excuses that parents may have. Whether there's a death in the family, students are ill, parents are ill, doctor's appointments, vacations, car problems, things like that. The students are really not in charge of. The parents are in charge of it. Some of the benefits for students being in school, the average daily attendance is affected when students are not in school. And when you have a school building with over 800 students, then it could really be a problem, or it can be misinterpreted or go unidentified when you have so many people missing different days of school. So when you go look at your average daily attendance and you have students absent on different days, you don't realize how they're accumulating for one student. So that can affect the funding of the school, the student learning. Students must be in class to learn the instruction that the teachers are giving. Like I said, they're building a foundation, a solid base for the student to be successful, especially when they get ready to start testing. It also gives a comfortable learning environment for the students. It creates a path for the students by giving them some hope and some confidence, and they're also being able to communicate with the peers. It also sets high expectations for the faculty, because a teacher that can have perfect attendance in her class really does a great job of motivating the students to want to come to school. My attempt to improve attendance, I had to write a letter to parents. Principal had to approve it before it went home. Parents had to sign a document. The term of my intervention was to let the parents know that this was a 16-week study, the entire second semester of school. And what I did was I went around each morning and did classroom checks. Walked around with a clipboard, making sure that the students was in class. Communicated with the teachers. The teachers also read the letter, and they were on board to pretty much helping me make sure that those students were doing the things in class that they need to be doing in order to help the students. So it was not only to make sure that the students were at school. It was also to help make sure that those students are achieving high marks. I also called parents and I provided a reward for the students, whether it was sunglasses or whether they got extra gym time on Fridays as an incentive to come to school. Now, one thing the study really shows is students chronically absent in kindergarten are less likely to be reading proficient by third grade. And the data that I have will prove that it is really hard to be successful when you do not come to school. And students are assessed right now in second grade on early literacy. They also have accelerated reader. They have intervention programs. They use STAR data to monitor student success. They do reports every 2 weeks. So if a student is not up to par in that time, then they are referred to what we call RTI, response to intervention. And we also have a really great faculty and a great school system to be one-to-one with student technology ratio. Now we're going to look at some of the data that I mentioned earlier. One thing that I did notice, this is the projectile rate for STAR reading data. This student right here is really high on a national level. Even in the second semester, he only missed 1 day. That's because his grandmother had to have surgery. So he missed the 1 day of school, but he was in the 98th percentile on his STAR reading data. And we have a female student here who's in the 90th percentile on her marks. Student here missed a ton of days in his kindergarten year, missed like 40 days. Here, these two students repeated first grade because their marks are so low, but they also missed close to 20 days. Start reading the grade equivalency. This student right here in the 98th percentile right now is reading on a 6th grade 4 months level, and this young lady right here is reading on a 4th grade 9 months level. Student here, they're way behind grade level, especially when they're supposed to be going to the third grade, but they're going to the second grade. Their scale scores for STAR reading. I think the scale goes up to 900 points, but this kid is at 720 points, and this young lady is at 532 points. And here, the same students that were absent all these days, they are really low, and they're at about 60 points. Kindergarten absences in second grade and kindergarten. Like I said, this kid that was really high, he missed 18 days in kindergarten, and then in second grade he missed 9 days. But the second semester he only missed 1. But the student that we really had low marks in kindergarten, this student missed 23 days, and in second grade missed 26 days. Well, back in first grade missed 26 days. Same thing with this student here, 14 and 16. So it kind of balances out to where if you're not in school, you will not be really successful. The standards addressed in this presentation, we led the articulation to develop and implement a shared vision and strategic goal, which covers our plan for continuous improvement. We looked at how we use the methods and principles for the teaching and learning. We also addressed technology in our presentation, how we interacted with the parents, how we took care of the data that was very important, and the privacy thing for the kids. We talked to the family, we talked to the parents. You know, we covered all 8 standards when doing this project. Now we're going to look at the diversity plan for Lincoln Elementary School. Lincoln Elementary School is located in Talladega County. It has a really good attraction. Had a Honda plant. We have a really nice facility for athletics. We're going to break down the population of Lincoln Elementary School over the years. We're a K-5 school located, we have close to 75 employees. We are located right on Highway 77. We have a diverse group of educators, but not as diverse as it should be, considering the fact that we have about 20% of black to white students or minority students. Last year we had 828 students enrolled. So our enrollment continuously go up every year. So let's look at the numbers over the years. 2013-14 we had 23% minority. 14-15 we had 25% minority, and 15-16 28% minority. But one thing I did notice about this, each year our minority percentage went up, but our free and reduced also went down. So that just means parents are becoming educated and they're landing jobs. We'll look at free and reduced each year. Like I said, this right here is really, really good because each year the free and reduced goes down and the paid goes up. So we're doing really good things, and it's motivating the parents, and the parents are doing really well as far as educating themselves. Now, one thing that we're really tested on is as far as standardized tests, and this is third grade. We're really tested on the ACT Aspire in third grade. It used to be the ARC test, and the reason I put this in here is because the ARC test, we had a lot of success with the ARC test, but we struggled with the ACT Aspire. And I found out that a lot of this is because we are weak in reading and vocabulary, and that goes back to where the students are not being in attendance at school. This test is administered to grades 3 through 8, which students are exposed to a lot of different things. They have the START reading, the START data. They have the accelerated reader that they are a part of, and a host of other things that they have as far as intervention and response to intervention. Now, just looking at the data and how well the students did on the ACT Aspire, we have students of level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. We did really well on the ART, and this right here can also be when the students are exposed to something new. So our students being exposed to a new test really crippled them because of the percentage of students that scored low 1s and high 4s. So really have a problem with getting the students to understand what this is about when we changed over from the ART. Now, one way that we look to implement this diversity plan is having teachers highly motivated, going out and get teachers that are motivated to really teach students. And it is often said that when a student does not try, that student is lazy, but I look at it in a different spectrum as to what are we doing to get our point across to the student so that student can have some success. Are you really doing what you need to do as a teacher? And as an administrator, I really look at how can you motivate these students to do better. So the goal of the overall diversity is we want to close the achievement gap. We want to improve teacher relations with students. We want to focus on the skill that students most often need, which we use the test to do it. We want to provide professional development for the teachers, and we want to integrate socioeconomic levels for affluent students. So we want to provide a mechanism for these students to be successful. One thing we want to do is we want to build formal register. We want to increase the students' technology. We want to increase their nutrition. We want to improve their way of life and improve their confidence. And then we put displays in the building. We want to put the data on display. We want to create things so the students can be involved in, to where we have different things that we want to implement with our students. and make our students feel a part of our community. Now, the standards address